Hello, hello, hello. I don't know how many people we have in here. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Great, great. How you guys doing? How y'all doing? This is Sylvia. We got in here, Lady Print Boss. Lady Print Boss, did you get in on the chat so I could add you in as a on the screen? Let me copy here. Let me do this. Okay, here we go. Okay, let me get back over here. Did y'all get that? Print Boss and Tampa. I don't know if I just sent y'all a new link. I just sent you a new link to get added into the screen, Tampa and Lady Print Boss. Hold on, it's my mom. Hello? Mama, can you please calm down? I'll call you back. Okay, bye. Are you guys on? Trying to wait till I get the ladies in here. Let's see, we got Baby Giant, CTR, Sylvia. Who else was in here earlier? Welcome in, guys. Thank y'all for joining.
Hey,
Hey there, how you doing?
I'm okay. How are you? How are you feeling?
I'm um I'm here.
Okay, so I have redirected the traffic over to you, sis.
All right, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Check your messenger, Tampa. Guys, we're not gonna be on here long tonight. I'm not feeling my best. But I didn't want to let you guys down and not give you the information that I've been trying to provide. The ladies already know I've been sick since the show, and it was a great, great event. I enjoyed myself. I had a great time, and I got a lot of things to share. Um, but I want you guys to to know this was a lot of work. It was a week long event. It took a lot out of me. I held on to the very end. 7 days is a long time to work 12 to 14 hours working and doing creations on site. it took a lot out of me. I'm dehydrated, I'm exhausted, and I had to go to the hospital. So I'm here. That's about all I could say. Overall, the event was, like I said, a great success. And I know you guys had a lot of questions and wanted to know a lot. I tried to give you guys snippets as I could, but I was working so hard, guys. I mean, doing this live event was different from everyone else's. I think I gave you guys a view of my setup and how it was. I had a whole corner to myself, and it was the as soon as you walked in, you saw my section. I think I showed you guys that once before, and it was an attraction. So I want to thank Boss Lady for allowing me to use some of her props to accentuate what I had to provide for the customer. It made the difference. It made me pop even more, and so much so that I'm going to invest in those same things uh, to have in my own prop shop for going forward. Those are must haves. I always tell anyone when you see something that is working for you, don't not implement. Implementation is the key to being successful going forward. If I did not have those props, I probably would not have gotten the attraction coming to me as quickly as I had. So that was a great thing. Um, I know that a lot of people want to know, well, well, what did you do? Tumblers were my most biggest sellers, guys. I sold about 85 tumblers and I made them all on site. Um, they were a hit. Um, Shirts was the next thing, and paddles. Um, but a lot of people, they wanted those tumblers. They wanted those tumblers. Why? Because they were different from everything else that people had. And everybody wants to have something that has something to say about what organization they're with. So um, that's something that I would just want to let you guys know that if you're doing something to forward in the near future, to look for that. If you have any questions, I'm looking to see what they are.
So I'm gonna kind of elaborate a little bit on with what Mel was saying, because I know that you're a little bit under the weather and don't want to talk too much. So for her event, she had, I mean, when she said she had the whole corner, I mean, there had to be, what was it, about 4 or 5 tables, sis, or 6 tables?
I had 5 tables.
Okay, so she had 5 tables. She had, when I say at this event, she was doing full on customization. She
Yes.
had things that were pre-made. There was just a few, not a lot of things that were pre-done, but she had things that were pre-done so that she could get started with the event. And then she had, so at this event she had the sublimation tumblers with
Yes.
the sublimation machine. So she
Hmm.
had her sublimation printer. That meant she had to have the printer. She had
Right.
to have the press, the
Hmm.
the the mug press, and then she also, I'm sorry, the tumbler press. Then she also had her Stalls Hydronics press out there, and then she had the cap press,
Hot Trunch Press.
um, the Graph Tech. So there
Hmm.
was a lot of stuff that was when I tell you, it was like
White
moving
toner
my
printer.
whole
Yeah.
shop, the white toner printer and everything. And I know that it was like a couple of days because she actually started packing all of this stuff up a couple of days. I tell people it's a lot of work. And kind of tell a little bit about the preparation and of getting, like, how did you decide what it was that you were going to take or not take? Because you didn't take everything. You didn't take the embroidery. There was a lot of stuff that you actually could have taken. And why this is the question. Why did you decide to do versus printing up a whole lot of stuff. Because there are all kinds of events out here, guys, that you could do. You
Hmm.
can do events where you already have everything printed up and you're ready to go, or you can
Hmm.
have events where you're doing items that are customized on the spot. So we want Mel to kind of tell us a little bit about that if she's up to it.
Okay, so the reason I did not do all of my things up front and have things there, I didn't want the extra inventory. I didn't want to make something and someone did not purchase and then I'm left with that inventory. I may go to another event and it may be next year that I go to this event. So next year may be some new trendy ideas and not the same ones from this year. So I didn't buy any inventory. I make everything custom. I didn't buy inventory that was already made up and had that money spent and I can't use it elsewhere. I would rather buy them blank and I make them
Mhm.
on site. You can do that if that's what you so choose. And if you're going to event that's the same type of event, you may get rid of it. I'm not saying not to do it, but I'm just saying for me, that's what I did. And the best thing to do is to figure out what's going to work for you. Now, for me, I don't want to do that. I want to do everything custom because I know it's one of one or one of three or one of four, and there's no more. And if they need it, who they going to call? They're going to call me because nobody else knows how to make that. And
Right.
that way, the money and the revenue is coming directly to me. All the designs I made were my designs, custom.
So was there people that was there that because there was a couple other vendors there, and
Mhm.
so when you look at, I think what I tell people is when you look at the draw, like you see, okay, somebody doing custom work, it just brings that extra to your booth and draws that brings that crowd in, even if they have some very nice stuff.
Yeah.
Even if you have another vendor that's next to you and they have some really nice stuff and their stuff is selling, you still have that ability to say, okay, well, they have this over here. And if that's selling over there, sometimes people will see other people's stuff and they say, well, I really do like that design over there, but I would like for mine to say this, or I would like for mine to be this. And so then you have that ability to actually make money off of kind of what they're doing, not to make it exactly the same way, but it gives you that opening.
Yeah, that did happen several times. I had a customer to come over from my homeboy who was directly across from me. I'm originally from Mississippi, and he was directly from me. And he and I are from the same hometown. And he sent the guy over to me and told him to ask me to customize it for him. And I did just that. I did exactly what he asked. He wanted his name put on the back of the shirt and he wanted it in rhinestones because they were nobles. You know, nobles. I don't know if you know Shriner. They have the rhinestones on their hats and stuff like that.
Okay.
So he wanted it on that same type of design on his shirt. So I put it on there for
Okay, that was cool. Y'all drop them questions out there because I know now this is a time. Let me tell y'all something. This is a time right here that y'all have somebody who is on here. You have two people on here that do events, and we both do different types of events. So
him.
this
Now
is
you did ask me something about embroidery. Why I didn't take my embroidery machine? I didn't take my embroidery machine was because if they want that, they know I do that because I got things there that are embroidered. That's something I don't want to do on site. Why? Because I want to take my time with that. And
okay.
you don't want to have a sewing error or mess up on site and you can't resolve it right away. And people see that. You want to be able to do that at your own pace
Okay.
and you can get that matter resolved on your own timing. Not saying that it couldn't happen or it could happen, but I don't want that opportunity for it to happen because you never know who's paying attention and you want to get that business that you actually was doing or you were looking to achieve. Now, I did something that you suggested and it was a total hit. I created that little sign up sheet and it was a total hit. I have so many people that signed up to win a shirt or a poster. And when I tell you, they loved it. And I got their email addresses. And some people are like, wait a minute, you didn't ask me to sign up. Why I ain't sign up? I bought something from you, and you. I said, well, put baby, here's some piece of paper. Go ahead and put your information in here. So
Right.
I got all those people's information, and I took a whole 500 pack of cards. I may have 20 cards left.
Gems, gems. She dropping gems, y'all. And what she's talking about is I talked to y'all about lead magnets, right? And so like when you're doing events, and a lot of times I say, hey, make sure that you have a link, a QR code up on the table that's gonna go to a website. Well, when I
Mhm.
was talking to Mel, I said, hey, sometimes you may not have that time to set up that link, right? So we take it back old school because a lot of times people don't want to. I know that we're living in a digital age right now, but sometimes people don't want to have their phone. They don't want to click on something, fill out something, and do all of that. And it's a lot quicker and a lot easier if you just have that bowl there. You have just a simple sign, just a little
Mhm.
sign, and you can just write whatever the giveaway is. You will be surprised at how many people will walk up and just put their name and their email address. So then you can take that. What she can do is, I don't know how many she got. But
Got
I
a lot.
know it was a lot because she said it was at
Over
least
100.
100, right? So when now that has just started her email list. So not only was she
Mhm.
able to get money there at the event, but now she can take those people that she met at the event and all of those emails, put that in an email list and start marketing to those people. And there's one more thing I'm going to say, and then I'm going to turn it back over to you. So, did you process payments through Square?
I did.
Okay, so you can also go back into that Square and remarket to those people through that
Mhm.
Square app also.
Mhm.
And thank them. That's a way of, so you just got, not only did you do the event and was able to make money that way, you
Mhm.
also were able to then take those people and turn those customers that you had that day into loyal clients. And
Yes. Also, I gained a few people that was right here in the DFW area. They were there, and they were able to say, "Well, I didn't even know you were here. Shoot, I've been dealing with somebody here in town, and we're not happy with them,
mm-hmm,
and we're going to give you a shot."
mm-hmm,
And this is their whole organization here
right.
in DFW. So they've even reached out to me since I've been from the show because one of them won one of the actual gifts. And I had to find his information because he only put his telephone number on there, no email address, for me to reach out to him with to let him know he won. And I called him and he says, good thing you called because we were just talking about you. I said, well, you won. I did. I never win anything. So he won a poster. And
Oh,
the
wow.
other thing I'm going to say here is, at most of these events, you have most of the women that always win. And this time, I had more men win than women.
Oh, wow.
That was the ironic thing. I've never seen such. That
Yeah.
and the man was like, "I want my gift. I want my gift. I never win nothing." So I
So
was just excited.
you had
So the
them
men,
signing up.
so the men started coming over. Well, put me in the list. I want to win. So the men started coming over to sign up. So that was really great. Um,
You have
it was really good.
go ahead. You have a couple of questions. I'll tell you once you get through
Okay,
reading.
go ahead. What are some of the
Okay,
questions?
so Baby Giant asks, what sizes and what color shirts and how many do you know? And when you go into the event, how many to take? She has her first event coming up in December, and it's for 4 days straight. And she's just trying to figure out like what sizes and colors, things like that she should take for the event.
Okay.
I'll let you
So
answer, and then I'll come in and say something about it.
okay. For the count, do you know how many people will be at the event? That's always key to know. I'll get an estimate of the registration of how many people will be there. If you don't know that, you really can't gauge on your number. Once you do have that number, I would normally gauge, if not that same amount, at least about 75% of that amount, because you can guarantee you're going to get at least that 75% amount of your clients to ask you for a shirt.
Okay.
The colors, the basic colors that usually people get are black and white, but I'm going to tell you what color mostly sells: black.
Yeah. Yeah. Black shirts.
Black
Um,
shirts will sell quicker than what you call it. Sizes. Your main sizes that you're going to sell out of, and which I kept going back and getting. I even talked to Boss Lady about this, was large, extra large, and 2X. If you want to get anything, make sure you get more in those sizes than in the others. I'm not saying not to get the others, but those are the most of the common sizes.
right. So, Baby Giant, I can tell you as far as in retail, we do a 1-2-2-1. So, if you're doing like, let's say if you're doing small shirts, right? You got one small, one. It could be a one small, two mediums, two large, one extra large, right? And then you go into 1-2X's. And so it'll be a 2-to-1 ratio. However, depending on the demographic that you have that's there, let's say if it's a women's conference, right? And depending on the demographic of the women, the age range of the women, we all know that older women we have a little bit more curves, so you may have more larger sizes in women's sizes, in versus the smaller shirts. I would definitely, for as far as colors, um, black, gray, white is actually a popular color for as far as selling t-shirts. Depending on if you're doing, I would only be doing white, especially in December. Right, I probably would not do white in
Oh,
December.
she's doing a Masonic event for 5,000 people, she
Yeah,
say.
yeah. So it's going to be 5,000 people. But now,
Mhm.
what I would tell you is what is the theme of the event, because that's going to kind of determine colors. That can kind of determine colors too. But you want to make, if you got 5,000 people that are coming to the event, right? I would look at how many other vendors are there at the event. That way
That's
you
key.
know how your money is going to be broke down, right?
That's key. That's
Um,
key.
as far as the shirts, what you want to do, I can't really tell you how many to take because that's going to depend on you and your financial situation. One thing you can do is, if you have a wholesale distributor, is you can reach out to them and say, hey, I need to get, let's say I need to get 15 cases of shirts. What is it going to cost me if I need to? Is there a restocking fee? Because if you can get those shirts for the
Mhm.
event and not have to pay a restocking fee and return those shirts, then
Mhm.
you can get those shirts, and say, okay, I'm going to get these, I'm going to get extra shirts, but I'm going to return them. It's hard when you have to pay a restocking fee and then you can't return them. Me, I have a stash of shirts, so I always make sure that I have more than enough. The events that I do are, most of the events that I do anyways are a lot different from the events that from the event that Mel just did. I go out and I do live screen printing. So when I go to an event, I already know exactly how many shirts to bring, how many colors, how many sizes, what size shirts to bring, things like that. Like now, I'm getting ready to do. I'm quoting for the event that I'm doing on September 16th, Mel. The lady hit me back. The girl wants to have all of the guests, they're going to have their names going down the sleeves. So we
Mm.
can easily customize that because we have the guest list. So if we have the
Mhm.
guest list of names and everybody's pretty much VIP, we already have those names. We already have them in the system. It's laid out. So when they walk up, all we got to do is just grab their name. So which makes it a lot easier. But if you have 5,000 people, I would probably have a good 750 shirts if I have the ability to have that. If
Yeah.
not, get what you can get and take what
Mhm.
you can take, and then because this is the thing, you're not going to have 750 shirts in a booth, right? I'm getting ready to do the event that I'm doing in October. We have a we're going to have the shirts outside in the box truck. So if you have a truck and you have the ability to take to have merchandise there on the scene, then you can
Mhm.
have merchandise there in your truck or in your car, and then you bring that merchandise in as you are selling out, because you got to think about space restraints, right? A lot of times I
Mhm.
do events, and let's say I don't know how much space you're going to have at the event, but let's say if I have a 10 by 10 space, right? And I got to print 500 shirts, because I've done this. I've printed 500 shirts constrained within a 10-foot by 10-foot space, which was really only 8-foot by 10-foot once they put up the backdrops and all of that. And then you have all of the equipment in there. You're working in a small space. So you have to also think about, where are you going to store
That
product? Are
yeah.
you going to
I put
have,
mine in a storage container, but I don't know what she'll be able to do. I rolled them up and put them in a storage container.
yeah.
Um,
For us, we normally put ours. So we normally put ours underneath our tables, and we had a
mhm.
boxes. So if we have small, medium, large, extra large, whatever sizes we have, if you can have those in boxes. If not, the other way that we have, when we did an event where we had to do 1,000 shirts, we have those rolling shelves. There are some shelves they open up like
Mhm.
this,
Mhm.
and then we roll them. Those
Mhm.
shelves have 5 stacks, so you can go all the way from small through 2X
Mhm.
on those shelves. And then the company, they let us they had a certain area where we had overflow. So it's
Mhm.
all about, figuring out, when you're talking to the venue, figuring out what you're going to do. Like I said, with the one that I have coming up in October, I'm going to have my stuff outside in a box truck, ready to go.
You doing a Masonic event? That's what I just did, Baby Giant. And I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're doing that, your colors, I'm gonna be honest with this, the ones that sold for me. The
Hmm.
men are gonna want the dark navy blue. They're gonna want the black. The women are gonna want red, green, blue, and white. Those are the colors that sold with me. Now, fortunately for me, I did have those colors for the women because I had them from prior events. And like I said, I brought my whole stack of shirts with me because I knew that those colors for the ladies would possibly be colors to pop. And I got that green from LPB over there, Kelly Green.
They remember that. They remember that. What was that? The Thirsty Line Green, when we did the Thirsty
Yeah,
Line event.
I got those from her. She said, I got some green over here. I said, well, let me look at it. And she's like, yeah, hey, you
And
can use
those
them.
green shirts are popping, honey,
No,
popping,
they were popping,
popping.
and they did sell. Um, but those are the colors I know. Um, we used I had, because I got a variety of shirts. I had Bella Canva, I had some Gildens, I had some Hanes, and
Mhm.
who was that other company you had? Was it American Apparel? I think it was American Apparel.
Was it?
I think it was.
I know we had Hanes, we had Gildan, we had. It may have been American Apparel,
I think it was American Apparel.
or either American Apparel or LAT. One of those two.
One of those. But yeah, I had some of those. Like I said, I got some shirts from LPB, and I ordered some shirts, and I had some prior to. So I had a variety of shirts now that are not all just one brand.
That was one of the questions that was asked, that she asked. Okay, CTR asked a question. Said CTR said, "How did you get people to the booth without looking pushy?"
I didn't have to do anything. The products brought them there.
The product, the setup, the
The
and
the
that.
you're right. Your branding. I mean, if you remember, if you go back into my pictures, I gave you guys a look at my vendor setup. And if you look at my vendor setup, it is inviting. It is refreshing, it is inviting, and it's attractive. And if you set yourself up with those things, you will have them come to you and ask you, what you got going on over here? And that's the first thing they ask. And the next thing, of course, I was looking flawless. I told y'all that. And I was gorgeous.
Okay, we saw you. We saw you.
So, you know, the brand matched the brand. You know what I'm saying? I'll match the face that looked like that girl that was on that poster. And that's the thing. When you have a brand, you got to come with your brand. You think about it when Michael Jackson hit the stage. He had a brand. You knew him from that glove, that hat, them hot water pants. You knew him from dancing and doing that moonwalk because that was his brand. So when you have a brand and you set the standard for your brand represents you that they know you soon as you hit the store. I didn't have to say nothing. Oh, there she go. Here she come. I mean, as soon as I would get off the elevator, the first, oh, here she comes. She on her way. I was like, dang, I mean, I ain't even made it. I would have people to open up for me before I got there, and they wouldn't buy from them. My mom and the other lady, they wasn't buying from them. They wanted to talk to me. I mean, but they selling the same stuff that I was selling. But because you are the brand, people want to talk to the person that's on the brand.
Right. I want to add a little bit to that. CTR, I think it has a lot to do with your personality. Male has a bubbly personality, and I think it has a lot to do with your personality, your presentation, how you present yourself, your selling. I've literally seen people that are at events, and since I do events, I had Benjamin at an event one time, and he was just kind of standing there, just standing there like this. When you go to an event, right, and you see people walking, hi, you know what I'm saying? Hey, how you doing? Come on over here, girl. That's me. What can I help you with? What do you see you like? Hey, this looks really good. And so you have to bring that personality in you. And once you get them, because the thing is, if people are interested, they're gonna look.
Mm-hmm.
You just, when you're doing any type of printing or anything like that, and people are walking around, they're going to be looking, right? And so sometimes all it takes is that, hey, how you doing? Come on over here. That's all it takes to get somebody, versus when you just standing there and you just standing there and you just, so you have to be inviting to people when people are,
Let me second on that. Let me piggyback right on
okay.
that. Let me be honest and
Okay.
tell you, your energy has to be at a different level when you're trying to entice people to buy your product. You can't come with a negative energy. You have to leave all that behind because you come in there and you got to be upbeat, you got to be bright, you got to be bubbly, you have to have that smile on at all costs. I don't care if it just the day is not the right day. You got to have that right attitude. And that right there brings people over and welcome them and soften them to say, you know what, I'm gonna spend my money with this lady here. I can trust in her. And if you know your product because you made the product, you should know it backwards and forward. That
Right.
right there builds confidence in the buyer that they will buy from you.
Exactly. Exactly. And I want to say this: if you don't, and this is for anybody who is listening, when you're doing these events, it's a lot of work, y'all. And you got to have your girlfriends. You got to have your accountability partners to put their pom poms on. The morning of this event, baby, the day before the event, sister, are you ready? Do you have it? Look here, is that hair on point? What you wearing? I want to see what you're wearing, what's going on. We're going over everything that you have. Me and Mel talked for days about, what do you have? Okay, is this ready? Is that ready? She was probably like, dang, is this your event? But do you have everything ready? Because you got to be ready to, like how she said, I borrowed the little mannequin forms and the boxes, the t-shirt boxes from Lady PB, right? So It's certain things that is okay. Hey, do you have this? Do you have that? You have to have somebody. You have to have people who are around you, who are willing to help you, and that have your back and put crank you up. You know what I'm saying? How they say you don't need, you gotta hype your bestie up. You gotta have somebody that hypes you up. She had her husband there. Hey, baby, you got this. It's all about that, surrounding yourself with that positivity.
Mhm.
Because once you hype a person up and you have that behind
Mhm.
you, it's
You do.
no, you feel like, baby, I'm finna go out here and get it. It's the world is literally yours. And it
Yeah.
makes you start out on a positive note. And I'm gonna tell y'all something, because Mel is sick. We're gonna switch girls, and we're gonna talk about some of the pitfalls of doing live events, because it's one thing that I did not tell her that I hate, that I did not think of, because I do these events all the time, and I started doing these events pre-COVID. I did these events during COVID. We did these events after COVID, right? And so there is that possibility of catching something and getting sick, because you're dealing with everybody, y'all. And so we have to, normally before we do events, and I did not do it this time, I'm going out tomorrow in the blind. I started yesterday after I talked to me, and she said she was sick. I started yesterday on my regimen. But boost up your immune system. And if you remember, I said, hey guys, we getting ready to do Bosscation. You remember when I said I'm gonna start walking, I gotta start getting ready, I gotta boost myself up and get ready. So
Mhm.
you have to also, when you're doing these live events, especially a 7-day event, because it is so overwhelming,
Mhm.
and it's a lot of work. So kind of
It's a
talk to us
lot.
about that a little bit, and what are some of the things that you
Well,
might.
let me go back. Let me go back a little pace because you you
Okay.
you you covered a lot of ground right there. Let me tell you, on the day of the event, I had to go out and run an errand, and I decided to do my live, like I normally do in the mornings. And as I was doing my lives and telling you guys that I was getting ready, who pops through but LPB telling me it's time to get it ready. It's time to get it. I think I was on live with y'all and y'all saw that. And
Oh,
it actually started making me laugh. And I said, here she go. Here she go. And I don't even think it was 2 minutes later. Tampa coming. All right now. We gotta get that red hair. What color hair we wearing it?
yeah,
So, that right there was a motivational push. I was already ready, but I mean, it was a big push. And then, my mom was here, my brother's here, my hubby's here, it was, and my mother-in-law was here. Everybody came here to support me and make sure that I had a great success. When I tell you, it's nothing like your friends and family support. It is nothing like your support from your support group. And if you don't have your circle, you need to reevaluate your circle.
yeah, yeah.
You
You
gotta
got
have a circle.
you gotta have that.
There's no way I could have pulled any of this off without any of these people that I named. These people were most valuable and very influential in everything that I got done. So believe me when I say they are 100% on my team, hands down. I appreciate each and every one of them on everything I've done, including through this sickness I'm going through. I appreciate them because they've been calling, they've been checking up on me and making sure I'm okay. And when I tell you, it is nothing like that, baby. Let me tell you, I don't think I would have been able to soar like I soared this week. I'm going to tell you point blank, period. Baby, it was nothing but them and the grace of God that saw me through what I got through. Because I don't
You
know
did
how I
a lot.
pulled this off.
You did a lot. You pulled it off, honey. You had this.
Baby,
I
it was
knew
it
you
was
had
nothing but his grace. And I'm gonna tell you, he's sufficient. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Lord knows he's sufficient. He is most definitely sufficient. Let me tell you something else. You've got to protect yourself when you go out here and do these events. Make sure you start with your regimen of getting your immunity up to par. Make sure you are taking your PPE gear. As far as when I say PPE, that means your mask, your gloves, your Lysol, your Clorox wipes, everything you need to make sure your areas are straight. Because we have come back because now a lot of us are now sick because we've contracted COVID. So I'm just telling you,
Yeah.
get yourselves together and be ready for whatever you have and be ready. Now, usually I've always usually take my stuff and be ready to go, but I just fell short this time and I didn't. And then I worked myself to the ground. 12 to 14 hours, that's too much for anybody. And I wasn't eating right. I wasn't drinking enough. And it was hot. It was scorching hot. It was scorching hot, 106, 107, and I was working in that type of weather.
Yeah.
It was a lot. It's a lot, and your body can only take so much, and not sleeping. I'm working from 10 to 12 o'clock midnight.
Yeah. I think that we all have kind of forgotten, um, since everything has opened up. We did, we shut down during COVID, and now we're back open. And so I think that we kind of forgot about those risks out there. But I want to ask you, even with with you catching this COVID and everything, would you do another live?
Got one on the first of the month. Hello.
Okay. Okay. Well, so I'm going to probably go ahead and get my booster again. I am going to make it through tomorrow's live. We're going to go in and we're going to do what we got to do. Um, there are some, we're going to talk about real quickly some of because we talked a lot about the plus sizes, the pluses of the lives. Male, I know that for me, and I talk about this to me and Kim. We were just in with the event that I'm planning. The more the more pieces of equipment that we use, because everything we use uses heat, and we have to have so much amperage and so much wattage with electricity. Um, Kind of talk about, like when I do events, I always ask about um, plugs and
Oh,
things like that. How did you handle that situation with all of the equipment?
okay. So you remember when I first got there? What did I do? I took a picture and sent to you. Say, look, do you have this plug? Do you know what type of plug this is? Because okay, I have heavy commercial. I don't have okay. Don't get me wrong, guys, and I'm not trying to talk down to
Right.
anyone on anyone's equipment. Let me back up here. I want to make sure I put this disclaimer out there. This is not disgracing or discounting anyone and their equipment, but all my equipment is commercial grade. I mean, I have the Hotronix Air Fusion. I have the Hotronix Heat Plus. I have the the um, the GraphTech. I have the big Epson photo printer. I have the big Epson sublimation printer. I have all the big boys, and you trying to and the tumbler, the mug tumbler. I have all those big heavy hitters, and I came out there with a convection oven. So when I tell you that takes a lot of power trying to get all those things to work. I was tripping doggone breakers over there. And thank God I had most of them on surge protectors, because otherwise I'd probably shut that whole side down. Because if you put one on and you put the other one on, it's it's blocking, it's jumping. It's my surges are going off, bing, bing up, bing up. So I couldn't run one thing at the same time as the other. I had to do one thing, stop that, unplug it, then go to another one, plug it in, and rub that. Otherwise, I couldn't use them both at the same time. And even if I put them on a different wall, and I couldn't, and here's the second crazy thing, none of those worked in surge protectors. It had to work exactly in the plug of the
Yeah.
wall.
Yeah.
So you're not coming with a generator, or you're not coming with something that they had this one section of a piece. Let me see if I still have a picture. Hold up, because I sent it to you.
Yeah. You sent it over to me.
Let's see if I can find it real quick. This plug, I'm gonna show it to you guys. And I don't know if you've ever seen it, but this was the size. This was the type of plug it was. I had never seen that a day in my life. I was like, this ain't even a wash machine plug. I can see
I
if I can
think
get
that
that.
is I think that's an ECO plug. I think you can take that plug, and that's like a plug that you can plug. It's a 220, but you can plug like your
I'm
generators,
looking
your
at this.
inverters, things like that into that plug. Guys,
So I couldn't even get that. That was over there on my side of the wall, but I was trying to get something that I could adapt it to make it
yeah,
work for me and run all my things. But I couldn't figure it out. I mean, me and Boss Lady was trying. I was just like, you
and
know what? Don't
so,
worry about it. I just have to do it one at a
yeah.
time.
We're gonna
So,
talk about that, and so that you make sure that you get that, so that you have that little piece, so that when you go and you do an event, if you run into that problem again, you'll already be ready.
mhm.
And I did
But
end up finding it, but I found it too late, y'all.
yeah. So we're talking about making sure you have some things to adapt to some situations,
Yeah,
to make sure they'll work for you. One could be a converter, an adapter, a conversion over to what you need, or the second may be a possible generator. And some places don't want you to have generators in there because they're so loud.
yeah.
So you have to think about that as well.
So when I do, and I'll tell y'all, whenever I do live events, so I have a PDF format, a form, a contract, and everything that I go through, and it covers electric, right? And so, if whenever I'm doing a live, I always ask them, depending on what it is that they're doing, I tell them what we need. Because for me, I'm running a conveyor dryer. I'm going to run a 110 conveyor dryer. I know that I need that conveyor dryer to be on a 30 amp breaker, right? It can go on a 20 amp, but I prefer for it to be on a 30 amp. So you have to, it's like when you get into doing this stuff, you have to know the ratings of things that you're running. So if you're running a regular 110 plug that's on a most in of the time in your homes, you're going to be running a 15 amp breaker. But when you're in a commercial building, you'll probably be on a 20 amp breaker. So if I'm running a 15 amp flash, or I'm running a heat press like this heat press right here, I can run this heat press on a regular 110 plug, and it's not going to draw a lot, but it's going to go by the amperage. So if this takes a 15 amp breaker, and then let's say I'm running I can run things like a computer, I can run things like a printer, but when I plug in something else that requires 15 amps, then I'm on overload and stuff starts to popping. So that's when you have to know, you have to start asking, okay, what um, can I have two plugs? And it has to be two dedicated plugs. It can't be on the same circuit like you how you plug things in your house. It has to be on a different breaker. You have to make sure that you have, when you're doing events, make sure that you have professional, industrial, commercial, commercial strength cords, right? So if
Yeah.
I'm going to add a extension cord to this heat press, it needs to be rated for the heat press, right?
Mhm.
And so you have to make sure, or else you'll burn up, the cord will burn up, things will pop. If they have a 220 amp breaker in the wall, you can use a converter which converts the 220 power down to 30 amps of power, which is normally what they'll give us when we hook up the conveyor dryers. They'll have that there. The only reason I knew what Mel had looked at when she sent me the picture is because I've been there before, and
Mhm.
just luckily the venue that I was at, they said, oh, and they just popped the thing in the wall, right? She didn't
Right.
have that accommodation. So that was something that we said, okay, well, you need to get this. As far as the generators, I have so Ken and I, we have a 6,500 watt generator, but it's gas. So it's for outdoor events. You cannot use it indoors. If we're
Mm-hmm.
doing an outdoor event, we're covered. If you're doing an indoor event, you may want to think about getting a inverter generator that
Mm-hmm.
is ran with by those are the newer type generators that you charge them up either with electricity in the wall or they're
Or solar.
charged through solar.
Mm-hmm.
Those they have, let's say if you do 100 watt, not 100 watts, 1,000 watts, I'd probably be looking at something around 1,500 to, for what we do, I would be looking to buy something 1,500 to 3,000 watts,
Mm-hmm.
and it's an investment. But
Yeah, it is.
if you
But it's
get
well worth it.
a generator, it will run, you can run with the inverter generator, you're not just able to run like a heat press. That would hold, if I got something that was 2,000 watts, it would hold probably two heat presses. It would hold a conveyor dryer. You could probably do your laptops. You could probably run everything and we're talking about you could push it up to maximum capacity and
Mm-hmm.
you still be able to run about 11 hours on it. So
Yeah.
I've been looking into those. And so I'm thinking about actually getting one of those. Now they are expensive.
But
Because
they're well worth it.
you need, you're looking at $1,000 or above for a really, really good one. But there are other ways. We always talk about ways we get stuff done. You know, so
But I think you were mentioning to me one time you had to pay for electricity at another event, and you weigh your pros and cons. Do you spend this money here up front for electricity when
mhm.
you can invest it in your own inverter, and therefore you're not worried about
Yeah. So when I do corporate events, um, normally what happens is we do the event. So I'll have to pay for electricity at the one coming up in October. But when I did the event at the Omni Hotel and at the Sheraton, I've done several, and I have to pay Encore. Encore is not the electricity company here, but they're the people who provide the electricity here, and so we have to pay them to come out and hook up everything. So what they do is they'll come in whenever you book with a venue, you tell them your electrical requirements, and then they'll tell you, okay, you need to speak to whatever electric company, and then that electric company, you reach out to them, and then they tell you what it's going to cost. I paid at one booth, I paid $75 before for electric. At the one coming up, I'm going to be paying 225 for the 2 days, but I'm going to need two plugs. So I'm probably going to be out of about $450, but I would rather be out of the $450 and have everything running
it. Hmm.
for those 2 days versus me not having it running. And
Right.
because it once you run into that problem of the heat press takes so long to heat up and you're doing customization, now I gotta wait on the heat press to heat up. You know,
Right.
and I plan to have either a double mug press or to have two uh, tumbler
Press.
presses
Hmm.
if I don't have, a single. So it's a lot of stuff out there. Anybody have any questions before we let's see here? I'm trying to look and see if we have any questions out there. Can you think of anything else? This is the time, y'all.
Y'all want to know, so I'm giving y'all the opportunity because I need to be back in bed.
Just say she has one of those in her house. Okay, well, I guess we don't have any more questions. I'm hoping
Yeah.
that you get to feeling better.
Yeah, I hope all goes well. This is this is a learning experience, you know. That was my fault. I should have been better prepared immune wise. But you know,
It's nothing you can do about that. You
and
could
nothing I can do about it. It is what it is. It's just one of those things that it happens.
yeah.
And you know, I'm not mad at anyone for it. It just, you know, it happens. It just happens. So
Yeah.
oh, thank you, Pooh
Levi
Bear.
said, "What is the money like, honey?"
Who said that? What
Levi want to know, did you make any money?
You asked the popular question. I thought that nobody was going.
Levi said, "What? Yeah, ain't nobody said nothing about no money, honey. What is the money? What's going on?"
well, I will say, um,
I thought when I asked her if she would do it again, I thought that gave it away.
well, let's just put it like this. I'm not gonna give an exact number, but I'll put you in the realm of I'll do it again. And matter of fact, I want to do more than again. I'm probably gonna go ahead. Oh, it's past thousands. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah,
I
yeah.
did. I did. I did. Oh yeah, I did. I probably did that a couple
I
of
love
days.
doing events. I'm not even gonna
Yeah.
lie to y'all. I
Let me tell
love.
you, this is one thing I'm gonna tell you guys. I was doing so much that I really was like, I couldn't even believe God. You know how you just ask God for something and you sit back, you're like, God, I mean, God is showing up and showing out because I know I had asked for it. And you know how you ask for it, and I just say, I'm gonna throw it away. I say, if you put your faith and leave it there and just don't think about it, let God handle. Baby, let me tell you something. You know, we talked about doing that 100K with you.
Mhm.
Let's make it happen.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
almost like
Let's make it happen.
if
It's
that
time.
can tell you how much I did, that lets you know I did pretty dang on good.
Yeah. We've been having some awesome stories lately. I got an inbox this morning from one of the guys that's been watching and he's been following and he's been implementing stuff. And he was doing single shirts and he did a big order this past week. He sent me a picture of everybody in the shirts and it was over 100 shirts. So it's people that are out here that they on their way. They on their
Yeah.
way. So it's that makes me happy. That
So
really.
I'm gonna tell you if you're interested in doing live events, don't stop. Go ahead and get interested and do it. I mean, that's
Mhm.
nothing to it but to do it.
Okay, y'all, let me plug that. Now I am going to be talking about that at Bosscation. So if you want to really get into these events and you want to really get the ins and the outs of the events, make sure that you go and sign up over on latona.com/Bosscation to be here in Dallas, Texas, September 15th to the 17th. If you cannot make it to the event, we're going to have a Zoom room set up, and Tampa is actually setting that up. So that'll probably be up in the next couple of days. If you are not able to make it to either one of those, I will be speaking at Impressions on the Shop Talk floor on live screen printing events and live events and what all it takes to get into doing live events. It won't be as in depth as it will be at Bosscation, but we would love to have y'all come there. Ma'am, thank you very much for coming on here and doing this tonight because
You're welcome.
it couldn't have been me, y'all. I would be in the bed like a baby, honey. And then I was going to be saying,
Well, I'm sitting on the side of the bed. It ain't that far.
y'all see me when you see me. Okay. But we do thank you. Everybody says the information has been great.
Great. I'm glad I could have provided you guys this information. I just know that I was getting questions asked, and I was like, let me just go ahead and just give you guys as much as I could give you because I probably won't be on for a minute. I'm gonna try to get back 100%. So
And if y'all like these type of collabs, tell us down in the comments so that we make sure that, you know, we can continue doing this. And I hope that everybody has a wonderful night.
Right. Y'all have a good one now.
All right. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.